Joe, you often say they're not all oil paintings, but somehow you got this one done.
It's true. I mean, we got it done because our pitching was so good, quite frankly. I mean, their guy, give Scherzer a lot of credit, man. To come off that injury like he did and pitch as well as he did, that's pretty phenomenal. That was phenomenal. And then our guy matched him, which we needed tonight. You had to match that great pitching performance with another one, and we did. And then we got a couple knocks late to get the game in our favor. But that was really an exceptionally well done performance by both pitchers. We made mistakes. We made some errors, but then we made some great plays. We made a couple base running gaffes. Part of it is just guys possibly trying a little bit too hard. But at the end of the day, you'll always take that effort, always. Yes, sir.
Joe, you talked about the starting pitching and how good it was. Was there a different feeling in your dugout when Scherzer came out, and do you imagine there was a different feeling in the other one when Quintana came out?
You know, it was just a matter of matchups. I don't know that there was a different feeling. Just presented differently to us. I mean, Schwarber right there obviously was set it up before the game that if that were to happen, that was going to be a spot against the lefty, and it just happened. I didn't necessarily feel anything differently. I mean, I'm certain that, you know, based on his injury and everything, he was not going to go much further than that anyhow. But no, I didn't feel anything necessarily different.
Joe,
yes, sir.
It was a bloop single this time.
Yes, sir.
But does Rizzo seem to be one of those guys who just has a knack to get the hit at the right time?
There's some guys that are like that, and because I think a big reason, he uses the whole field. I mean, he's not always trying to pull the baseball. When he's not going well, he's in the pull mode. When he's using the whole field, that's when he's normally pretty good. Now, they have to respect, you know, the wind and his power. They're playing a little bit more deeply, and that's permitted that ball to fall in. A lesser, smaller, less strong hitter probably would have been caught. But that's the thing I appreciate about Riz, the choke up, the oppo, willingness to go to the opposite field. That's why he's so good. I mean, beyond, you know, he's got natural ability, but I mean, as an offensive player, he could hit the ball in the seats, and then again, he could hit you a blooper line drive to left. That's what needs to be nurtured more, and I really love his approach.
Phil.
Yes, sir.
Joe, how big was that 8th inning from Carl Edwards Jr., and just did you have to talk to him at all yesterday or before the game to get over the game 2?
Honestly, not. I talked to him. I patted him on the plane the other night. I just said, "Hey, man, we're good," and he smiled, so I knew he was fine. I watched him yesterday at our little brunch outside, and I saw him talking with his family and everybody. He looked good. I did hear some of the things that some of our guys had said. Perfect. Regarding just maintaining his confidence. It happens. Everybody knows it happens. If you play in this game long enough, stuff like that happens. But he's got tremendous talent, and he came back in pretty much the same part of the batting order and did it again. Did a little bit better tonight. Just did not make the mistake. I'm really happy for him. I mean, seriously, because that's something you don't want a kid to carry with him too far. This kid's such a big part of our future, and he's going to be dynamite for so many years. So, bully for him.
Down on the right.
Joe, is it a dilemma for a National League manager to have a slugger who can hit 30 home runs but doesn't really have a position that, you know, maybe even a little bit of a liability in the field?
Of course. I mean, ask the Phillies about Greg Luzinski. Hey, Bull. You know, it happens. It happens historically in our league. It's part of the game. Schwarber works his butt off, literally, to get better in the outfield. I watch him every day. And here's the thing about that. That's a routine play. That's not an over the top. That's not an exceptionally great play. And it's something that he knows he can make 11 out of 10 times. It just happened tonight. I have so much faith in the fellow, the guy, and again, his work ethic and how much he cares. After the game, all the guys are going up to him, every one of them, and reinforcing that it's good. We got you. It's good. So, bully for our guys also, man. But listen, Schwarber is going to continue to get better on defense. But you got to love his heart, man.
In the middle?
Joe,
Yes.
obviously you have a ton of confidence in Almora. What makes him so good in that pinch hitting role?
He doesn't swing and miss often. You know, if you look at his breakdown, he's not a swing and miss kind of guy. In other words, the ball should be put in play. I don't care who's pitching, how hard he throws, how good of a breaking ball, especially against a lefty. He's a contact guy. That's what really makes him attractive as a pinch hitter. Same with a John Jay or a Tommy LaStella. Tommy, how about Tommy's at-bat? No, it's a great at-bat right there. Didn't get too eager, and all of a sudden he's going to swing at pitches over his head. Didn't do it. So I think the really interesting pinch hitters for me are guys that make contact. You know, it's always sexy to have the guy with pop. That's cool, but he's very pitchable normally. Where guys like Tommy and John Jay and Albert, and Albert's got some pop now. Don't get me wrong, but he makes contact, and I think that's why he's done so well.
Joe here on the right.
Yep.
Joe, did you expect them to pitch to Rizzo or walk?
I had no idea. Honestly, I had no idea. I knew they had the lefty up in the bullpen, and then they had the righty for. I think part of that is Wilson. You know, a big part of that is Wilson. If you've watched this throughout the season, Willie's been, wow. I mean, if he didn't get hurt, man, this guy would have had his 100 RBIs or something really close, and a bunch more homers. So, they're watching his bats. You watch his at bats. He's not expanding his strike zone. He's a tough out right there. I think, to choose to pitch to Riz there is really based on Wilson.
One more here on the left.
Joe, there's
sir.
a lot of talk before the game about Jose making his first playoff start. Yep. How do you think he handled that, and was it a real tough to take him out of the game?
He handled it beautifully, I thought. I was watching, like I said, from that first inning. He over-boogied on the third pitch, that elevated fastball to Turner. Otherwise, he was really in control of his emotions from the first pitch. I had it set up. He was not going to pitch to Zimmerman in that inning. It just happened that it was a two-out error that caused us to had me bring Strop into the game. That was set up before the inning began. So I really try to stay with the script that we present before the inning begins. So that's all it was. I really felt strongly about Strop on Zimmerman. Part of the reasoning there is that Strop has a much better chance for the punch out as opposed to Quintana right there, theoretically. And you don't want the ball to be moved. And he moved the baseball.
Joe, let Phil close it out on the right here.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Going forward, the way these games play out, would you just kind of think the relievers that you use in front of Davis, Strop and Edwards, are going to be kind of everyday guys? And just how important are those guys in front of Wade Davis?
Invaluable. That's the beauty of the playoff system, where you get that day off. So if you use them 2 days in a row, they still can recapture the momentum, their arm strength. If you look at Stropey, more utilized in back-to-back days over the last couple of years. Carl, not as much. And this year we started doing that a little bit. I don't know. It may have happened 5 times. You could look it up, maybe with Carl going back-to-back days. But part of that was to not do it too often so that we would have more at this time of the year. And, his stuff was really good again today. It was outstanding. And he's learned how to do that. He's learned how to, not throw too much in the bullpen before he comes in, what he does in between appearances. All that stuff is learned. So those guys are invaluable. Dunsing was up a couple times tonight. I did not have Montgomery up at all, or Wilson. So it's primarily those 3 guys tonight.